Tying up another Carrie Stevens streamer from the Hilliard book today. This is a fly called the Pink Beauty. Obviously, you can see where it gets its name. It's pretty straightforward. Carrie Stevens streamer has a tag, has a body of black floss and a rib. The throat is just some yellow hackle fibers and some bucktail for a belly. And the wing is some pink hackles with some lemon wood duck for shoulder on this. So it's pretty straightforward in terms of similar to other patterns that she ties. That's the Pink Beauty. I'll get started tying. I'm going to start the Pink Beauty with my hook and a vise. This is a Partridge CS15 in a size 4. I'm going to debarb the hook. I'm going to attach my thread. To start out with, I'm using a Danville. This is a 210 Denier Danville Flymasters Plus in white. Now the Pink Beauty has a black floss body. If you wanted to, you could start out with black on this. It does have a silver tag on the back end. Just a matter of habit, I usually grab white because usually if there's a floss or something on there, I don't want to darken it up. So that's the only reason why I am doing the white. Like I said, you could use black, but I'm going with the 210 just because it's going to wrap on a little bit faster than say a 70 or a 70 Denier or 140. There's no tail on the Pink Beauty. There is a tag of silver tinsel and a body of black floss with a rib of silver tinsel. So I'm going to advance my thread down to just in front of the point of the hook where I'm going to attach the tinsel for the tag and the rib. Advance forward, tie in the black floss, then bring my thread all the way back forward to apply the floss, and then apply the tinsel for the tag and the rib. For the tinsel, I'm using a Danville. This is a silver and gold Mylar tinsel in a size 10. I'm going to tie this here with the gold side up. Wrap my thread back past the point. Tags usually aren't that long. And then bring my thread back up to where I tied that in. And that's where I'm going to put in the black floss. I'm using a Danville 4-strand rayon in black for this. I'm going to tie that in. I'm going to draw this back so it's maybe about 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch heading up front. If you want a really nice smooth underbody, then you might make that the length of the body. That would keep things nice and smooth. But I find that there's very little bump here with these 4 strands. Now I'll advance my thread forward to the end of the body so that I can apply the floss and then the tinsel for the tag and the rib. With the body complete, I'm going to advance my thread rearward a little bit, generally right past the return for the hook eye. So we're going to tie in the belly. The belly is just some white bucktail. I've already cleaned and stacked a selection of hair. Keep in mind, you want the belly to be somewhat sparse. I'm going to tie this in so they extend maybe 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch past the bend of the hook. Securing that in, I'll trim away the rest. I'm going to advance my thread forward up to almost right behind the eye of the hook, and this is where I'm going to change over to my orange thread. The head on the Pink Beauty is black with an orange band, but because of the way I'm tying this in, I prefer to have the majority of the head done with the orange thread, and I'm using this is a uni thread 8/0 in a pumpkin color. I'm using this as the majority of the head, and then I'll put the black bands on as I'm completing it. I'll attach that and advance that thread back, securing the tag end and the white. Trim that away. Bring my thread back down to about where the belly was tied in, and here I'm going to tie in the throat. Throat is just some yellow hackle. I'm using some sloppin for this. You're going to tie in 3 clumps. You want that to go about halfway down the belly. You're going to tie in 1 clump right directly on the underside of the hook. And then you're going to advance your thread forward just a little bit. And you're going to tie in the other 2. The other 2 will go in kind of on the sides here. The idea is that it is covering up these thread wraps. Certainly don't want any of the white thread wraps to show. But as we get the head of this created, we want to make certain we're minimizing how much of the other thread wraps are showing where we tied in those other materials. Some of that will be taken care of by the wing when that is tied in. But this is just a technique that Carrie Stevens developed for tying these. And I'm not 100% certain that I'm doing it exactly right, or at least attempting to do it the way it's supposed to be done. But it's my understanding that's why these 2 other pieces are a little in front and on the sides. Cleaning that up a little bit, this also starts setting the foundation for the head. That's about as long of the head I want to have on here. You can see how the hackles here help to mask over some of those thread wraps where the initial throat hackle was tied in, as well as the bucktail. Now the wing is comprised first of some peacock herl. You're going to get 4 to 6 strands of peacock herl here. I think I have 5. You want to try and keep the tips fairly even on this. They don't have to be perfect. They are rather fragile, so they'll kind of get broken up as this is fished. Keeping those pretty much the same length, you're going to tie this in. You want to tie that in so it's the same length as the belly. Trim away the excess. This will give us our foundation for the rest of the wing. The rest of the wing is 2 pink hackles. And as you can see, I have both of them, the whole wing put together here. But there are 2 pink hackles here on each side. Then there's a shoulder of some lemon wood duck, and then a cheek of jungle cock. Now, the lemon wood duck can be difficult to acquire sometimes, or at least in the sizes for something this large. So you can substitute some mallard flank if you want. You can get mallard flank dyed in a wood duck color, which is to basically look like the lemon wood duck flank. I'm going to trim the excess rachis off of those from where I've constructed these wings, and I'm going to tie these in. They're going to basically be tied in at 10 and 2 on the top. They're not directly on the top, but they are just a little off to the side. That's one nice advantage of this Partridge CS5 hook, that it, because of that return eye, it gives you a nice platform for tying in these wings. I think I said CS5. I think it's a CS15, yes. I had that wrong. The CS5-9X is another one. This is a CS15. I'm going to get that wing in place. I want it pretty much just right straight down along the hook shank. And you'll notice that because of the shoulder area of this wing, it tends to cover up a lot of how that bucktail and that throat was mounted in. I'm going to tie on the other side here. Get a few wraps to secure it, and I just want to double check that these are going in the way I want them. The peacock herl, I find, tends to kind of creep up sometimes as you're tying this in between the wings, and that's okay. All of this, as you fish this fly, the head stays fairly stationary, but everything from about midway back starts getting these microcurrents running along it, and all that back end is going to be flitting back and forth. So now I'm going to shape the head here while covering up any butt ends of material. And then I'll secure the orange thread and I'll reattach. I'm using some Danville 70 Denier in black for the black bands. Using a little wax on my thread for this whip finish so that the thread doesn't pop out from underneath the whip finish. Now I'll attach this is a 70 Denier Danville in black. I'll attach this to make the rear band and the front band, dividing that head up into thirds. Getting a little more wax on my thread. That way, as I'm doing the whip finish on this, and I clip the thread, it doesn't tend to pop out from under those thread wraps. So I'll put some head cement on here. This is a fly-tight head cement. It's an alcohol-based thin cement. It'll soak down into the thread wraps there and secure that. Then I'll come back and I'll put a couple coats of a clear lacquer on that to help protect the threads even more. I think I've got just a little bit of, no, I think I smoothed that out. I got some of those thread wraps in that whip finish loosened up just a little bit in the head, but I think if I leave it, get some lacquer on there, it'll be fine. The other thing is a fishing fly, that I'm not worried about. If there's a little bump or a little thread sticking out or whatever, as a fishing fly, I'm not worried about it. But of course, the internet doesn't like it, so we want to just make certain that that looks a little bit nicer. So there you have it. That is the Carrie Stevens Pink Beauty. Pretty little fly. Very standard with all of the Carrie Stevens pieces and parts in it, and fun to tie. Thanks for watching today. Thank you for joining me at the Vise today. I hope you learned a new pattern, at least a tip or trick here and there. If you'd like to help Dress Irons, you can like, comment, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things for the video. You can also head out to dressedirons.com where you can buy flies, tools, stickers, and merch, or you can join a growing community over on Locals at the Dressed Irons Fly Tying Guild. You can also donate to Dressed Irons if you want through the link at the bottom of the description. I thank everybody for their ongoing support, as it really does help the creation of these videos. But what's important is to remember, only fly tying. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.